Hi, welcome to this tutorial where we will see how to configure remote monitoring in Patrol for Linux game. This video will help us understand how to enter a host name in different formats, use of the Patrol agent account to monitor remote hosts, and the difference between standard and advanced configuration in remote monitoring. To begin the configuration, select Linux as the monitoring solution. Select the latest version. Select remote monitoring in the monitor profile and the monitor type. Click Add to configure a remote host. In the host names field, you can enter the host in any of the listed formats. The first format is a simple host name. This host name can either be a fully qualified domain name or just a host name. For example, devmachine.bmc.com or just devmachine. The second acceptable format is a host IP address. I'll enter an IP address. We can also enter a host name or an IP address with a published host name. This published host name is used to create a device of the host in the TrueSight console. For example, server 1, Mercury, and an IP address, Mars. Here, Mercury and Mars devices will be created for server 1 and the IP address respectively. If we want to apply the same configuration for multiple hosts, we can also enter comma-separated entries of hosts or IP addresses which share the same credentials. If you have a large number of hosts, you can configure them from a text or a CSV file. We can enter the absolute path to the file that includes comma-separated list of hosts in the acceptable formats that we just discussed. This is my sample file that contains the host details. I'll enter the path to this file. A combination of any of the listed formats is allowed in this field. For this demo, we will use a simple host name for the configuration. For example, host name with a published host name as Mercury. I'll keep the default port number. Enter the username to connect to the remote host. If you do not modify this field or if this field is left blank, the KM uses the Patrol agent default account credentials to connect to the remote host. Note that the Patrol agent default account user must exist on the remote host. Password-based authentication is used for verifying the credentials in this case. I'll keep the default settings and use the Patrol agent default account to connect to the remote host. Since we have used the Patrol agent default account, we do not require key-based authentication here. I'll keep the default settings for sudo configuration and move to the monitor type section. In the monitoring options field, choose the monitoring option as per your requirement. The standard monitoring option enables monitoring of the CPU, memory, network, and file system monitor types only. You will not be able to enable any other monitor type when this option is selected. If you wish to enable or disable monitor types based on your requirements, select the Advanced Monitoring option. The Advanced Monitoring option allows you to monitor kernel, NFS, users, swap, process, and disk monitor types in addition to the standard monitor types that we just discussed. You need to explicitly select or deselect the monitor types in the advanced configuration section to enable or disable monitor types. Some of these monitor types like process, file systems, and disk require additional configuration. We will select advanced configuration and monitor CPU, memory, kernel, NFS, users, swap, and disk monitor types. Since the disk monitor type requires additional configuration, I'll select the monitor type and configure the disks. I'll exclude all SDA disks. Let us enter the regular expression. Click OK to save the configuration. We can see the instance in the TrueSight console. This is how we can configure remote monitoring in Patrol for Linux KM. Thank you for watching this video.